The Kia Sportage is our reigning mid-size SUV champion. The Nissan X-TRAIL, well, it flunked out. It came second last out of 14 competitors. Ouch. But that was the old X-TRAIL. This one is all new, and it's a significantly improved vehicle. So much so that I reckon this could be a fantastically close fight. Let's get to it. What we've got here is a pair of high-quality, top-spec, all-wheel drive SUVs, and the Kia Sportage GT line is defending its best mid-size SUV title against the newer Nissan X-TRAIL TIL. Both are loaded to the gunnels with safety and tech features and now bring luxury to the table while still being affordable, even if the bold moves up market by both Asian brands have increased prices. Both models cost a smidge under $53,000 plus on-road costs, and if you want to be granular, the Kia is about $270 less. However, it should be noted, the Nissan is a petrol, the Kia is a diesel. The reason we have these two cars is because they match up on price. If you were to get the Kia with a petrol, it would save you another $3,000. Food for thought. Both have unlimited kilometre warranties, but Kia has one of the longest durations around, spanning 7 years, while service costs are pretty similar at around $510 per service per year on average. That said, the Nissan has shorter 10,000 kilometre service intervals compared to 15,000 kilometres for the Kia. In terms of exterior design, the Kia holds nothing back, its ultra-modern front end brandishing a bold grille flanked by big boomerang-shaped LED lights. The GT line model rides on 19-inch alloy wheels and gets gloss black roof rails and mirrors, not to mention a cleverly hidden rear windscreen wiper that tucks under the roof spoiler. While the Nissan has a more conventional design, its angular, chiseled lines give a more rugged appearance. Split-level headlights and a narrow grille dominate the front end, while silver highlights around the lower body kit add an adventurous touch. Motive force is provided by 4-cylinder combustion engines in both vehicles, and as mentioned, the Kia gets a 2-litre turbo diesel engine, while the Nissan gets a larger 2.5-litre non-turbo petrol. The Kia makes a little bit more power than the Nissan, but loads more torque, and this should manifest in improved drivability, the key word being should. Both cars have automatic transmissions, a conventional 8-speed auto in the Kia, and a CVT or continuously variable transmission in the Nissan. Both of them also have manual override with steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, and if you look at the spec sheet, the Kia should be a lot more fuel efficient. The Kia's cabin is going to be hard to top because it delivers on almost all fronts. We're talking technology, comfort, safety, you name it. And everything is laid out in a futuristic but appealing and sensible fashion. It just works, you know, this cluster of controls, very unconventional, and the whole layout, it just works. I really like it. Take the seats, for instance, which are really nicely finished. They're upholstered in leather and suede, they're power adjustable, and they get heating and cooling functionality. The leather steering wheel looks and feels great too, with intuitive controls, and the cabin materials in general are very good, although look a little closer and you will find some scratchy plastics here and there. Storage solutions are reasonably good, and I really like these retractable beverage holders. You get a concealable cubby here with a wireless phone charger, USB-A, C and 240 volt ports, and over here there is a mid-size central storage bin. And a big shout out to the rotary gear shifter too. It makes the car feel a little bit special, but I gotta say the door pockets, a bit narrow. Tech levels are top notch in the Kia, starting with these twin 12.3-inch digital screens, and they're set behind a single curved panel of glass. I also really like how the climate and infotainment controls down here are context sensitive, so you've got it in climate mode there, touch of the button and the whole digital display changes. The menu system looks great and is quite intuitive. It's easy to use. You just sort of drag and swipe pretty much like a smartphone. It's a very simple setup. Plus, there's quite a lot of depth to it too. You can really go to town with vehicle settings and menu settings, things like that. And the same goes for the digital driver's display as well. There's plenty on offer. You can change the look through the various drive modes, plus you've got all these different settings as well. There's a lot going on here and it's really good to see. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto via the USB-A port will get plenty of use, and the native sat-nav is surprisingly good too, but the lack of a head-up display is at odds with the car's otherwise ultra-modern attitude. The reversing camera is big and clear and is split between these two screens with a high resolution. There's a 360-degree view with zoom function to one side, while the main screen offers a clever 3D panning function. If that's not enough, parking sensors front and rear add reassurance, and you can even park the car without even sitting in it, thanks to the remote parking system on the key fob. Alrighty, the Nissan, how does it compare? Well, it doesn't have the same level of visual sophistication as the Kia. It doesn't have those two screens joined at the hip, for instance, but look, overall material quality it feels slightly better. And it starts with these leather seats. They get everything the Kia gets, including the same level of power adjustment, but the Nissan seats are more shapely and have slightly better leather quality too. They're heated but not cooled, which will be missed on hot days. The leather steering wheel is a bit sportier with its flat lower section and has roughly the same number of control buttons. The Nissan trumps its Korean rival in terms of storage real estate thanks to this large undersection here, but it's also better presented as well. The butterfly hinge central bin is lovely and you get the same USB-A, C and 240 volt ports, a wireless phone charger and also this stubby stylized gear shifter. The door pockets are also bigger, but the cup holders are not spring-loaded. The cockpit doesn't have the same wow factor as the Kia. It doesn't have that seamless single pane of glass, but it still has dual screens. They're both 12.3 inches, just like the Kia, and they both have high-res graphics. Even the central screen has a similar interface. It's really easy to use. It's like a smartphone, and everything works really well. The digital instrument cluster doesn't have the same depth of customization, and the climate controls aren't as high-tech, but it does get a large 10.8-inch digital head-up display brimming with vital info, like current speed limits and satellite navigation instructions. There's also a digital rear view mirror, which I absolutely love because the camera is mounted high on the rear of the car, so it gives you a higher, more elevated and wider view behind the vehicle. Better yet, when the boot's full or there's three big buffets blocking the view in the back, you still get an unobstructed view. It's very, very cool. The Nissan offers a similar level of tech and connectivity to the Kia. Although the native sat-nav is not as intuitive to use, you do get wireless CarPlay, which can be handy at times, but as many people might have discovered, there's a lot of lag when you're making phone calls. The reversing camera offers pretty much the same visual quality as the Kia and has that same split down the middle with the reversing camera and the 360-degree bird's eye view. It comes with front and rear parking sensors, and I like this ultra-wide fisheye view, but there's no 3D tap and scroll function like its rival and no remote parking assistant either. Both cars have very good equipment levels, and while the Kia has more eye candy, the fitment of a head-up display along with wireless Apple CarPlay and a digital interior mirror give the Nissan the edge at this stage. Both cars are chock-a-block with safety features including self-driving, semi-autonomous assistance to control acceleration, braking and steering, which make freeway driving an absolute doddle. Both also have 5-star ANCAP safety ratings. Backseat room in the Kia is surprisingly good. Check out all this leg room I've got. I can stick my feet right under the seats, bring them back. Easy to get comfy. And the seats themselves have a bit of contouring, so you can sort of snuggle into them. Headroom is not amazing because of this glass roof, and the door line is quite high, so little kids might struggle to see out of it. Amenity is really good with twin USB-C ports, seat back pockets, bag hooks, and these nifty integrated tablet holders. Twin air vents, a small storage cubby, and a fold-out armrest with basic cup holders are included, as are twin ISOFIX and triple top tether child seat anchorages. All right, we're in the back of the Nissan and check this out. The doors open almost 90 degrees. That's far wider than the Kias, and that just makes getting in and out, loading stuff a whole lot easier. Speaking of versatility, look at that. You can slide the rear seats forward and back, give yourself a bit more boot space if you like. And in terms of overall passenger space, it's probably line ball with the Kia. I've got loads of leg room. You can get your feet under the seats. Headroom's probably a little bit tighter. Again, glass roof doesn't help in that respect. Twin USB ports and air vents are also in evidence in the Nissan, but it gets a third climate control zone back here, and the windows are one touch too, unlike the Kia. Plus, there's these handy window shades as well. There's also a fold-down armrest and cup holders, the same number of ISOFIX and top tether child seat anchorages, and seat back pockets, but the nifty iPad holders are missing. Both SUVs have powered tailgates and both have large functional boot spaces. You can get a lot of stuff in here. Make no mistake, they're also well equipped. You've got 12-volt sockets, you've got cargo covers, bag hooks, lights, name it. We've measured the boot apertures and they are almost identical. There's a couple of millimeters in it, but the Kia has these handles here that fold down the rear seats. The Nissan does not. The Kia has a full-size spare wheel, which I love, while the Nissan has a space-saver spare, but offers better overall versatility with this handy divider and slightly more cargo space. Well, this has been a very close race so far, but now it's time to see how they stir the soul, or not. Cue the driving music. Cruising around in the Kia is both effortless and enjoyable, and despite the fact there's a turbo diesel chugging under the bonnet there, which, look, you do notice on ignition and startup, it's surprisingly quiet in the cabin once underway. The diesel engine's broad swathe of mid-range torque means you don't have to rev the bejesus out of it to move briskly, and together with the slick shifting 8-speed auto, the powertrain is hard to fault. Like all Kias in this country, the Sportage gets locally calibrated suspension and steering, which are unique to the Aussie market and make it a little bit sharper and a little bit more engaging to drive than most of its Asian rivals. And we'll soon find out whether that's the case against the Nissan. Another boon is ride comfort, which isn't compromised by the slightly sportier handling dynamics. In fact, it absorbs smaller bumps and smooths out poor quality roads with diligence, and is fairly benign over bigger speed bumps as well. Refinement levels are very good, especially for a car running a turbo diesel engine and riding on fairly large 19-inch alloy wheels, because the cabin is generally hushed. It's pretty good in here. Visibility through the front windscreen and side windows is very good. And while there are big blind spots due to the pinched rearmost windows, you do get that blind spot view monitor, which patches up this very nicely. Despite all the high-tech gadgets and the fancy screens, the fundamentals of this Kia are very sound. It's just really enjoyable to cruise around in. All right, in the Nissan, and straight up, the power delivery, it's lackluster compared to the Kia. And I think that's a combination of that petrol engine and the CVT, the continuously variable transmission. It's just not quite as immediate and potent as what the Kia offers. Look, it hustles off the line nicely, but runs out of steam pretty quick and leans heavily on the transmission to deliver its performance. It does have paddle shifters with simulated gear changes, but it just doesn't have the resolve of the Kia's transmission or engine. I'm actually pretty impressed with the drive dynamics in the Nissan. It deals with corners far more competently than its predecessor, but look, it probably doesn't quite have the poise and balance of the Kia. The Nissan edges ahead when it comes to ride comfort because it's ever so slightly more compliant over speed bumps, And while the Kia feels a little bit more settled over rougher roads and smaller pitter-patter bumps, the Nissan is more softly sprung and has overall better ride quality, but only by a Manx cat's whisker. In terms of refinement, the Nissan pulls slightly ahead, largely by virtue of its slightly softer suspension and its quieter, smoother engine, especially at nominal speeds. But if you need a bit of a squirt of acceleration or you need to overtake, that engine can get a bit raspy and loud. The Nissan's A-pillars are a little thinner, which improves the 45-degree outlook. Plus the side windows are modern, improving lateral vision, and rear windows aren't as pinched, reducing blind spots when head checking. But at the same token, there's no blind spot video feed like in the Kia. We expected the diesel Kia to be more efficient, and guess what? It is. While it beat the Nissan by a measurable margin, the X-TRAIL used a lot less fuel than we expected. And if this was a petrol versus petrol comparison, the result would have been a lot closer. Overall, the Kia Sportage delivers striking designs inside and out, backed up with the kind of safety, technology and functionality that breeds award-winning vehicles. That it's a delight to drive is the icing on the cake. The Nissan X-TRAIL doesn't quite have the nuanced driving traits of its Korean rival, but offers slightly better versatility and packaging, fit and finishing, and, on balance, a marginally better equipment list. Indeed, Nissan has well and truly delivered on its promise to get the X-TRAIL back into contention. This is a very, very good mid-size SUV and well worth a test drive. And we knew this would be a humdinger of a battle, but the Kia matches it in almost every respect, and it delivers a more engaging drive experience. It's got a longer warranty and is better overall value for money, handing the Sportage yet another win. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the comparison, and leave a comment. Let us know if you want us to compare some other cars or review something different. And don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and check out our other content too.